Welcome to the show here. We are talking about quarterbacks today. We've got 5 of them for you. Are they rising? Are they falling? Some big names with some big question marks, including guys that just made a nice move like Kirk Cousins. How are they going to do on their new team? We got 5 of them, rising or falling. Got a very special guest. He's on here regularly. He's not even a special guest. Is it because you're here so many times? Does that not make you special anymore? Is it only
You
special?
should just say featuring Jimmy Maverick. That's what you should say on your when you introduce things. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Podcast, the Fantasy Football Counselor Podcast, featuring Jimmy Maverick. There you go.
I think we need to do that, but I still want to call you special guest, even though, doesn't make you less special just because you're on here more frequently. That's how I look at it. So you're always special, Jim.
Thank you. That makes me feel worthy there. That's good. Thank you.
The only podcast that really complements each other and rips on players. Well, welcome to the show, guys. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're going to be ripping on some players for sure. Again, 5 quarterbacks rising or falling. Before we do, guys, make sure you guys do drop a comment below. We want to make this interactive. So I want to know below, as we're talking about, if I say a guy like Kirk Cousins, and as we break it down for you, what do you guys think? Because your opinion matters. We actually care what you think. Jim, do you care what they think? I know Tim does.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love to hear from the peanut gallery out there. Yeah.
Peanut gallery. Tim is actually a guy that I don't care. Tim's a little he's feisty. He snarls at the audience there. Also, guys, get the 16-round draft solution. Use code SMASH to save. You can pre-order right now. Get in and get a ticket for the summit. Jim, we've confirmed Trey Benson, top rookie prospect. He's going to be there. Tajay Spears. I've also got a big name I'm going to be announcing probably today or tomorrow. So make sure you guys are following my social channels at Fantasy Football Counselor. A third player is pretty much signing on. Just sent the agreement. We're waiting for official approval. And I've got some other offers out there, some other amazing talent. This is all coming together, Jim. Fantasy Sports Summit, where you get to hang out. It's a live podcast. Have a chance to ask questions. Entered for a PS5. It's going to be boom. So it's going to be exciting. So get the 16 rounds, and then as you're checking out, you can add the summit to the order. It's amazing. Or you can get it on its own. There's 3 packages linked up below. All right, Jim, let's dive into this. Rising or
falling?
You got to like the voice change there. So are they rising or are they
falling this year? We need to know.
So I'm going to bring up 5 quarterbacks, Jim. The first one I'm going to bring up is a guy that I really, really like. I think he's just great talent. I think he's absolutely amazing. Is CJ Stroud, having an amazing year last year, finished 9th amongst quarterbacks, Jim. 9th amongst quarterbacks. Now he missed a few games. He played 15 games, still over 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, great touchdown interception ratio. And he did miss Tank Dell for a lot of that time, who is one of his top receivers, right? And, with Nico Collins as your main guy, he's a good player, but he's no Justin Jefferson from what we've seen so far. Maybe he comes out, emerges, has a great season. We don't know. But what I'm saying is that he, banged up core, just getting into the groove for this offense. And it was a bad offense, years prior. He comes out and he absolutely does a great job with this offense. What do you think of CJ Stroud first? And then we'll save it to the end. Is he rising
or falling?
We want to talk about it. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I got to say, yes, a very impressive season last year for the Houston Texans. Yeah. CJ Stroud is great. They found their franchise quarterback. They're so relieved. Aren't they glad that they didn't take Bryce Young? That's what I mean, they just got to be like going, oh yeah, we definitely dodged that bullet. But he's a great player. He's got some really good talent around him. I do like the fact that Mixon is now in the backfield. I think that's an upgrade from Singletary, so that's positive. But my big concern about his game is that he doesn't run. He's not a rushing quarterback. Last year, 167 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. So for me, it's like, can he bust into the top 5? And it's going to be really hard to do that with just being a passing quarterback. He's got to be able to get close to 40 touchdowns, which is a lot more than he got last year, in order to break into that top 5. And right now on the draft board, he's going as the QB 6. So I see him kind of being drafted around his ceiling. And so I'm not seeing much upside there, which kind of dampens my enthusiasm for him, because if he was down at around, say, the 9th or the 10th quarterback,
Right.
I'd be much more excited because I feel that, oh yeah, he could definitely improve on that. But from where he's going now, I don't know. I just don't think I don't think he's going to be able to do any better on his final ranking. You know,
Definitely expensive, but the big question is he finished ninth in PPR last year. Like I said, only played 15 games, and you look at his touchdown interception ratio, 23 touchdowns. That I think that definitely goes up. Now, again, you said he doesn't have rush that much, which again, only 39 attempts. I think that's good. I like a balance, but a little bit leaning towards the passing, which he's doing. I love him. I think he's that perfect quarterback, man. I don't want too much rushing out of him. I want more throwing. And I think it only goes up with the throwing this year. So if you ask, he finished ninth in PPR, 276 points, right? And I know his ADP is going to be a little more expensive, but based on last year, is he rising or is he?
Falling.
What do you think, Jim?
well, for me, I'm going to say that I think he's got some downside pressure. To say that he's going to finish as the QB6 next year, maybe not. Like I said, I just it's hard for me to get enthusiastic about taking him based on where he's going on the draft. He's also pick 58, so he's a 5th-round pick. So like I said,
I'm playing some sad music for you there.
think he's just going to be a very good team. I'm very excited for this offense, but I'm excited for the other pieces of this offense. Not so much CJ Stroud because of that, because of his draft position.
All right, I disagree with you. I think there's way more upside. I think he's 100% rising. He finished ninth. I think he finishes as a top 5 quarterback. No way but up. And there's talk that they may even draft another receiver or bring somebody in. I heard a rumor, just a rumor. Hopefully it's not true because I really like Tank Dell and Collins getting the volume, but maybe Diggs ending up there. I think that they are building a team to win the Super Bowl this year. They are thinking we gotta win it. We gotta win it the next 1 or 2 to 3 years max, like as soon as possible. So he rises.
Well, yeah, I mean they're certainly in the driver's seat for that right now. You draft your franchise quarterback and you load up that team with talent while he's still on his cheap rookie contract,
Yep.
and you make a run for the Super Bowl. We've seen it countless times before with a bunch of other teams, be it Buffalo or Cincinnati or
Chiefs.
Philadelphia or the Chiefs, yeah, of course. And so, but the Chiefs have been able to actually continue it once they give
Yeah.
Mahomes the
Yeah.
big contract. But, certainly this team is on the rise. And I'm just very excited about their prospects. I just don't think there's much upside for CJ Stroud.
It's okay. If we bring CJ Stroud to the summit, we're gonna let him know that you think that. So
I'm going to tell him how awesome I think he is. I think he's an amazing, awesome talent. But like I said, I'm just concerned about his draft position. So
okay. Or Nico, if we get Nico on the show or something like that. Okay. So we're working on some stuff. Okay. So let's go here. Let's move on. So I think he's going to rise. He thinks he's going to fall, but it doesn't matter what we think. What do you think? All right. We want to know down below. It doesn't matter what we think, Jim, because we study this more than anybody, but you get the point. We still want to hear what you guys think. CJ Stroud, is he rising or
Falling, we'd like to know. Now, should I keep with this voice? Let me know if you like this voice. It sounds so sinister.
all right, let's move on. Next guy here. I got some question marks here. I mean, Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford last year had a decent year, 15th in fantasy points, just under 4,000 yards, 39.65, 24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, played 15 games. Now he is a little, what's the word? Long in the tooth. 16th season, Jim. 16th, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I keep going. 16th, 1, 6, not 6, not 10, but 16. That's a long time, but
he's been in the league for a long, long time.
yeah, man, we're talking almost decades here. So, and he was always mediocre in Detroit. I don't think he was phenomenal. They built him up, wins and with the Rams, but now he's got the young youth that could lift him up, and guys like Puka. I do like Kyron Williams, so upside in receiving as a running back. This team does look good on paper. Cooper Kupp maybe bounces back. The weapons are there, man, for this guy to really thrive. I think he's going to be efficient. I think he's going to be solid. But based on, well, let's hear what you think first, and then we're going to ask everybody here and ourselves, rising or falling? He finished 15th in PPR last year. Does he go up or down from that? But first, what do you think of Stafford this year?
Yeah, I mean, I do like Stafford's situation. Of course, I'm a big fan of Sean McVay, the coach. I think he is brilliant. The fact that he was able to find these two diamonds in the rough with Kieran and Puka in the past couple of years,
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, he got both these guys, super late in the draft. And my big concern with Stafford is that he is 37 this season. And that is sort of like a line in the sand for me that I don't like to draft quarterbacks that are older than age 36 because they tend to drop off very quickly. They tend to become, best case scenario, a game manager situation. Think of, like Peyton Manning's last season in
Sure.
Denver. I mean, that's sort of a player. They can't really push the ball downfield, so they do a lot of short passes, and their receivers do the work and get the yards. And they just don't create. They don't create a lot of mistakes. They don't turn the ball over. They don't get interceptions. And I can see that is a possibility for where he's going. But I mean, he's such a bargain on the draft board. I mean, you said he finished as the QB 15 last year.
Yeah.
I got to count it out here, but I think he's like the QB 17 or 18 on the draft board, going at pick 121, so 10th round. He's kind of a low risk play there for your QB2, and I kind of like that. What do you think?
Rising or falling? Based on last year, again, had a mediocre year, 15th. There's a lot of people like finished ahead of him. Sam Howell, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Baker Mayfield. I think some of these guys come down a little bit this year. I think he has a safe year. He's just guys that are that old at quarterback that don't have that any running upside. They just don't appeal to me. I think he kind of stays where he is. Maybe a little bit more upside because I think Puka really emerges a little bit more and becomes more of a factor. More touchdowns, I think, for the team in general. Kyron really, I think he's going to be in the groove now. A little more upside there. I think he finishes. I think he rises a little bit, but not enough to get me to sign up. Are you signed up for him, or he just doesn't excite you either? You're not.
I like him as a QB too. I think he's a super solid QB too, and I just counted it out. He's actually the quarterback 18 going off the board.
Okay.
That's pretty good, man. I mean, I think he can absolutely be better than that. Don't forget that last year also he was coming back from that neck injury,
Yeah.
and he still was the QB 15. So I see him as a low risk play here. I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind having him on my fantasy team as my QB2.
So we have arrow trending up, guys. Let me know
Yeah.
what you guys think before on this one, but I have arrow trending up. Next guy here, a ton of upside here, a ton of upside. Jordan Love. Jordan Love had a good year last year, finished top 5 amongst quarterbacks. A bit more value this year. I think he's sitting 12th or 13th amongst quarterbacks on the consensus rankings. 319 points, a great and solid touchdown to interception ratio, 32-11. Now, again, you had Christian Watson, who was banged up a little bit. Jaden Reed finally getting into the groove a little bit. Romeo Doubs coming a little bit more alive in the playoffs, had himself a good playoff campaign. They're making some moves they did make some moves at the running back position, adding Josh Jacobs, which I think helps everything, opens things up for the receivers. And Jordan Love is obviously going to be more comfortable this year. What are your thoughts on Jordan Love? I think, we'll talk in a second. But what do you think?
Well, I gotta say, man, in a choice between CJ Stroud and Jordan Love, I'm going to take Jordan Love.
Really?
He's a way better deal on the draft board right now. He's currently the QB9 coming off the board. And this is a guy, he runs the ball more. He had 247 rush yards and 4 touchdowns, better than what CJ Stroud did. And I think he has a more talented group of receivers around him. So I really do see a lot
Whoa.
of upside with Jordan Love for the season.
Whoa. Better
Plus,
receiver.
it's a contract year. Contract year for the guy. I think he's going to do great.
I think that's debatable. Better receivers, a young, fresh Tank Dell, Nico Collins looking pretty good. I don't. That's debatable. I don't know how much better Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs are better than Nico and Tank Dell.
Josh Jacobs is a prolific pass catcher. You've got Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson.
Can't
You
say
got
all.
who are the tight ends? You've got 2 of them. I mean, the thing is their talent is so spread around, right? And there's no clear wide
Crap.
receiver one. But
Crap.
I'd say that the depth of the receiver core is way better than in Houston right now. Houston has a couple of good pieces, but they don't have any great pieces and they don't have a lot of depth. So, like we saw last year when Tank Dell went out, it was just Nico. That's basically all there was.
Yeah.
So, So like I said, for upside, for value, I think Jordan Love is a way better choice than CJ Stroud.
I agree with that. I mean, based on value, but I just do think that, based on where he finished last year, fifth, right? He might be trending slightly down. I mean, how much more from five can you go up? And whereas CJ Stroud is projecting up, you got to kind of look at the waves. But yeah, for value, I'm all in on Love. I'm not disagreeing. I like Love a lot this year. I love the value. He could definitely be a QB1. A little more upside for CJ Stroud, I think, this year. But it's both of these guys, great. But yeah, CJ more expensive based on the fact that he's trending upwards, I think. So again, last year, finished fifth amongst quarterbacks. Is he going up or
Is he going down?
Oh, okay. So I think we're doing two different things here because you're going like, are they going to do better or worse from last year to
yeah?
this year? And I'm looking at draft position. Can they move up or down from their draft position
Oh
for
no,
this year?
we're
So I
doing it
think we're
all.
talking two different things.
Oh
Um,
no, we did it wrong
okay.
the whole time. Let's start over. No,
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand why is CJ Stroud, who was the QB9 last year, the QB5 on the draft board this year, and Jordan Love is the opposite. He ended up as the QB5, and now he's the QB9 on the draft board. That
oh,
doesn't make any sense.
I know the Conchiefs are waking up. They're finally realizing that they've done it all wrong. Because it's like if you got to look at a chart, CJ Stroud is trending upwards, and Love is going down. And CJ Stroud is one of those like popular guys. He's a popular.
Right. So can he improve on number 5 quarterback? I don't think he can,
Right.
but can he improve from being the QB9 on the draft board? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying CJ Stroud is right now the QB6
Yeah.
and Love is the QB9 on the draft board. So I'm like, can they move up or down from that position? I say Love, yes, Stroud, no. So that's
Okay.
where I'm at there.
Okay, good. And so again, so let's just recap here with Stafford because we kind of missed the boat on that. Stafford finished, I think, what did I say, 15th last year amongst quarterback. Does he finish higher than 15th or lower than 15th in PPR? I think it's slightly higher, if anything.
Yeah, I think he'll do higher. And again, on the draft board, QB 18. So he's definitely going to improve from there.
Yeah, and this is a
So
really good way to figure out if they're good value at their ADP. Okay, see where they finished last year. Are they going to rise? Okay, if they're going to rise, okay, cool. And they're coming off later, then you've got a good value. You found that sweet spot. You can draft them. Okay, makes sense. All right, two more here, and these guys are older veterans, but a lot of question marks surrounding these guys. First one is your cousin, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is here. I just saw a funny meme. I wanted to share this. I don't know if you saw this. I want to talk about this real quick. Kirk Cousins, you know what happened there with Cam Newton. Just I don't know if you saw it, but Cam Newton was not happy that Kirk Cousins got paid this mega contract. He's like, oh, why kind of why I don't know the exact quote, but he wasn't happy. He sounded jealous and he sounded spiteful. So some Facebook page that I had came up with this meme. It has a picture of Kirk Cousins quote. This is not real, by the way, but listen to this. I wish it was. He goes, I've never known a man cry as much as he does, and I'm starting to feel sorry for that guy. I see he's also worried about my finances. If he's broke and needs a loan, tell him to give me a call. I'll hook him up. Kirk Cousins. So this was a meme. I mean, like, that's exactly what's happening. He sounds jealous. He sounds spiteful. Why don't players talk like this? I mean, this is the honest truth. If someone sounds spiteful for me, I'd say the exact same thing Kirk Cousins says. Are you jealous? You want my money? But they can't talk like that. It's weird. It's like,
yeah, I mean, Cam hasn't been in the league for years. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, every freaking quarterback is getting these mega massive contracts. Don't forget, Daniel Jones got $40 million last year, and who was
yeah,
another one that got like this massive payday and they suck. I mean, it's like
lots.
it's who was it?
No, I said lots of quarterbacks get that. Carson, I mean, I remember as back as Carson Wentz got 128 million years, and I was shocked.
Right.
But, oh yeah,
Yeah,
Derek Carr,
and
Derek
so,
Carr.
it's just the fact that Cam Newton, you're not in the league now. That's why you're not making the big bucks now because you're not in the league. You were back, 15 years ago. That's when you were in the heyday and you were making good money for a quarterback in those days. I mean, it sounds like sour grapes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, come on. You're not
Okay.
even in the conversation anymore.
Yeah, other people have gotten wasted money on Derek Carr, for example, and on and on and on. Okay, let's talk real quick. So we're talking Kirk Cousins here. Now, Kirk Cousins last year, didn't have the greatest season. I'm gonna pull
Well,
this
he
up.
didn't because he was injured. How many games did he play?
8 games, 8 games,
Yeah,
okay?
so he only played half a season. Okay.
But okay, but I'm just trying to extrapolate out had he played the whole season. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
had he
mean,
played the whole season, he would have been pretty good, man. I'm
yeah,
seeing 23, 31 yards. So that
yeah.
would have been 46, 62, and 18 touchdowns. That'd be 36 touchdowns against only 10 interceptions. That's really good. That is definitely top 7. That's a top 7 quarterback performance.
Yep.
Um, and you know, Kirk Cousins has always been, I say, like, he's like the 12th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
He's good enough to get you to the playoffs every year. He's not good enough to get you to the Super Bowl or win it. So he's just kind of like in this nebulous zone, but he's great for fantasy. He's great for fantasy.
And
And
I think he's in a better situation with Bijan, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. I think he gets an upgrade all around. Now, mind you, Jefferson was good, but he was banged up last year. He had Addison. He had some targets, and I still think this is just as good. I think he feeds these guys. Now, the problem is old quarterback, new team. We saw issues with Denver and Russell Wilson. That there is a possibility that there could be the same thing happening here, the crossing of the streams, which I don't like doing. Old quarterback, new team, or old running back, new team, particularly. The crossing could be a problem, but I think he lands himself in a great situation in Atlanta. So I like the upside here for sure.
I consider it at least an even trade for level of talent on the team. There's really good pieces on Atlanta. There was really good pieces in Minnesota. It just depends. Just hope that the coaches work well. The game plan, they make it for Kirk Cousins' gameplay, and just let him do what he does, because he's really good. He's a really good quarterback, and you know, he can do good things with these players and make them very fantasy relevant, you know. So, and we've already seen that on the draft board with Drake London, who's moved up into like the second round, like late second, early third round pick. Unbelievable move up there, and it's all because Cousins is going to be his quarterback.
Well, you guys heard it. Yes, we're going to line up with him. He's definitely rising. And again, the injury was a big part of it. Obvious rise either way, no matter what, Kirk Cousins. I think the situation is positive there, man. I really do. I like this. This gets me excited. It's one of those.
Yeah, and he's really discounted on the draft board right now. QB 17. He's right in front of Matthew Stafford. So again, a guy you can get late as your QB2, and he can potentially just be your QB1 once he comes in there. And so that's, you know, kind of like a situation I had last year where in one team I drafted Josh Allen and Dak Prescott. You know, it's like
Right.
that's such an awesome situation to be in, because they were both so good for your fantasy team on every given week. You know, it's like an embarrassment of riches. So I like the idea of going for Kirk Cousins as your QB2 for sure. I think he's going to be great.
All right, last one here. We're talking Aaron Rodgers. I know your thoughts on old Rodgers here. Didn't play last year, got hurt immediately. Aaron Rodgers, man. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, no way but up from last year. So I think the big question is rising and falling. Does he have a good season overall to make him finish top 10 in such a competitive league where there's so many good quarterbacks for fantasy, from Josh Allen to Jalen Hurts to CJ Stroud to even Brock Purdy and Pat Mahomes and all these guys, with Garrett Wilson in that offense, Brees the Beast Hall, good potent offense that if they gel can be a Super Bowl contender if they gel and everything is like in sync here. What do you think of Aaron Rodgers? Is he draftable? I think he's a good backup and a good value, but how does he do in your opinion?
Boy, I got to say, man, I'm nervous for Aaron Rodgers. The dude is 40 and coming back from an Achilles tear. I mean, it's that's a lot of hurdles for him to go. And by the way, I think all the talk about him coming back last season and playing was all just a smoke show. It wasn't real. It was never going to happen, no matter what
Right.
the Jets did. And you also just got to figure that the Jets are cursed. The Jets are cursed. And I don't think that anything good is going to happen with Aaron Jones playing there. I mean, I like the talent of Brees Hall. I like the talent of Garrett Wilson. I like both of them for fantasy. I'll take them for fantasy. But dude, I mean, I just don't trust the situation. Now, Aaron Rodgers is going right after Matthew Stafford. So QB 19, he's very cheap, very easy to get. But frankly, when you talk about Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers is third on that list for me. I just don't see any way that I would take him over one of those other guys.
Yeah. It's wild. And you know what? At the end of the day, man, when I look at Aaron Rodgers, he is older. Like he's not young anymore, right? And then you got to be concerned about the injury last year. Man, I don't even know if I trust him as a backup, but I don't know. But Garrett Wilson's going to be high up. Breece Hall is going to be high up. The other weapons are going to be high up. But Aaron Rodgers, definitely some question marks for sure. Yeah, so that's it, man. Jim, that is it. Those are your quarterbacks. Let me know what you guys think. Rising or falling for these guys. Love to get your feedback. But yeah, these guys all have question marks, obviously, in regards to rising and falling, upside and down.
But I just want to add one thing, counselor.
Yeah.
He will definitely rise from what he did last year. Definitely. He's definitely going to do better than he did last year. I will predict that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. No, some obvious points there. So, Jim, I mean, we're getting ready for the season. Guys, pre-order 16 rounds. Use code SMASH to save. Linked it below. Jim, I'm ready for the season already. Once April hits, I think it's kind of like the catalyst of propulsion. It just, whoosh, everything goes up, I think, the draft, right? It's back.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So make sure you guys are subscribed, smash it, tap it, slap it, the thumbs up, that is, and drop a comment below. Let me know, rising or falling. Love to get your feedback. Make this interactive and turn on that bell. We're doing more lives this year. Thanks, Jim, for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, counselor.